at the verbs on our map, so far we've looked at the verbs that belong in the state of Illinois. We've looked at both the present active indicative and present middle passive indicative, and also the imperfect active indicative and imperfect middle indicative. They're all built on the same stem, so we put them all in the same state of Illinois. As we move along, we've got Missouri with those S's in the middle that remind us of the future active indicative and future middle passive indicative. This is our third principal part in chapters 13 and 14, because we'll see that it comes in two different forms. It's from Oklahoma. The maybe helps you out, but it's also that it's just a little bit of an odd state. That's where I went to college, so I can say that. And in so doing, you're going to recognize some of the differences. It's got this odd jut out here. In Oklahoma, what you have as the tense is aorist, active indicative, and aorist middle, just like the future. You only have a middle here. The passives are out in California. We'll get to them eventually. They're in our sixth principal part. But an aorist active and an aorist middle. Think about them as belonging in the state of Oklahoma. You're to your third principal part. It's an odd-shaped part. It ends with the letter A, and aorist is what you're thinking about. Aorist is going to be the oddest verb form that we learn. Here's our verb tense chart. I've already left on here the things that I was working on before because I'm shooting these all in a row. So we looked at the present active indicative, no special characteristics. You just have to learn these. And they mean, pistuo means I believe. We looked at the imperfect active indicative, and it has these characteristics. It has an epsilon augment. It has the secondary endings. So here it is. Here's the stem, the same as the present. Here's the epsilon augment, and here's the secondary ending. It could be translated, I was believing. The last time we talked, we thought about the future active indicative and future middle indicatives. These have this characteristic, a sigma in the middle. Pisteu, there's your stem. The sigma of Missouri is marking the future, pisteu, so I will believe. That's this verb form. Today we're learning about the aorist. And the aorist goes in chapter 13 and in chapter 14 because there's two different forms of it, even though it all belongs to the state of Oklahoma. Because verbs can only be, well, there's a few exceptions to this, but most verbs, 99% of verbs, can only be in this group or in this group. So you can think about sectioning these off together, like this. First aorist, active indicative, has this couple of characteristics that help you recognize them. It has an epsilon augment. This is because it is a past tense verb. It has I'm going to add a plus sign, it has sa in the middle. So instead of just the sigma that the future has, this has a sigma and an alpha, like Oklahoma. So epsilon augment, sa in the middle, and then it also has usually the primary endings. But they're sometimes hard to recognize because the sa sometimes takes over them. Look at it here. Here's the stem. In front of the stem you have the epsilon augment. After it you have the sa. This is what lets you know you're in the aorist. This is also the simple past. So this is just I believed. One way to think about it is if someday your graduation is coming up soon, you could think of the imperfect as a past, like if you're looking at a video that somebody shoots of your graduation. Well, I was walking down the aisle. I was receiving my diploma. That would be what the imperfect does. The aorist is more like just a snapshot. It could have happened any time during the graduation. It's a picture of you and your family. We don't know when it occurred. We just know it occurred in the past. So that's what the aorist is doing. It's not telling us anything specific about time. It's just saying it happened in the past. It happened. That's the aorist. And this is its characteristics. An epsilon augment at the beginning and a sa in the middle. There's the second kind of aorist, though, and these ones are totally irregular. There's no reason to explain why they changed. This is the one we use most commonly to work off of it. It's from the verb lambano, which you know. Lambano means I receive. But lambano in its aorist form loses its mem. Why does that happen? I honestly can't tell you, I don't think most people can tell you. There's maybe some kind of linguistic reason about how letters drop out. You just need to realize these are totally irregular. That's their characteristic. And these are the ones that you're going to learn. So I've listed several that you're going to start learning now, and you'll learn a few more. Probably before this course is done, you'll start working on learning 10 of those. You find them on the principal parts chart that has been uploaded to Foxtail. So these are the 2 for today, and these are their characteristics. That's what I would focus on. Epsilon oxidant and sa means you have a simple past. I believed. If you have a total stem change, an unrecognizable word, and several of these are very, very common. Like here is a common one. Lego, which means I say, I speak, in the second aorist becomes apon, like this. Why? It's just irregular. Maybe there were 2 separate verbs that got combined at some point in time. The best way to think about it is we all know the past of go. I go to the store, but in the past I went to the store. It's so common that we can recognize it. This is the same thing that happens in Greek. Super common verbs change to totally irregular forms. And the totally irregular form then just is also the simple past. This could be translated, I received. Okay, I hope this is making sense of all the different things by seeing them side by side.